Hello and welcome to Medicine Across Borders,
where we explore the global tapestry of healthcare
and challenges shaping healthcare systems worldwide.
Share your thoughts and rate us on our social platforms to help us continue bringing you content on global healthcare.
Two doctors here who are very passionate and all enthusiastic about sharing their new startup, which is all dedicated for doctors, the doctors of the future, and who are looking for pursuing their career in UK. It is completely dedicated for students to spend to look up and collaborate with them and get all the training, all the foundation required before, so that they can confidently go forward and give their exams, lab, or the future UK MLA. We're going to have a little talk about that as well, right? So please introducing Dr. Neil and Dr. Brion.
How's it going, guys? My name is Neil Murphy. I'm from Donegal in the Republic of Ireland and studied over in Bialystok for 6 years. Did medicine over there from 2013 to 2019. And from there then did my UK internship. So it was called the Foundation Programme. Did F1 in Derry in Northern Ireland, F2 in Belfast in Northern Ireland. And I liked it so much there, stayed on in A&E for following year locuming, and I am now currently in my second year of the GP training programme and still in Belfast and loving it. And I've just last year set up this company, FY Focus, with my friend Brion. I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. My name is Brion McGowan. I am a IMT2 internal medicine trainee in the NHS, currently working in Belfast also. I graduated from the Medical University of Bialystok in 2019 alongside Niel and did my F1, F2 internship in Edinburgh over in Scotland. Also locumed for a year in A&E before coming to Belfast to start internal medicine training. And my career plan is cardiology. So with that on one side, the other half, I am the other half of FY Focus alongside Niel. It's our little pet project that we both started up as our little medical education company.
Awesome. So to mention to our viewers so that they also know about the background, Dr. Neil and Brion have been childhood friends. And it's been a long journey for them. They have been together throughout. And today they have started FY Focus. And what inspired you guys to start this? Like, why FY Focus?
Yeah, just to touch on that, that's why we did foundation programs separately, because we were in play school at the age of 4 together, and then school together, and then university together. So then when it came to a foundation program, when we were 24, I think it was about time we separated after 20 years. So I went to Northern Ireland, Brion went to Scotland, and then now we've conjoined back in Belfast. So
we're back together.
Let Brion tell you about it.
Back together and back in business. Basically, Neil and I started FY Focus in May of 2023, so just over 1 year ago. And really, FY Focus is a small medical education company, and we offer sort of courses and resources for medical students and junior doctors that are new to come into working in the NHS. We really had the motivation to start it to provide sort of support for medical students starting on that transition from a medical student to junior doctor, as the whole process can be sort of quite daunting and overwhelming, and it's all very new. And we really wanted to smoothen that out and sort of prepare people as best as we can for their first day of working in the wards. And, we do offer things to smoothen that transition process. But we also, offer resources and webinars from the first stage of that process, which is applying to the UK Foundation programme. And we answer loads of questions and emails and try and provide as much support as we can. So it was really to smoothen the transition process. It was our motivation from starting it.
Yeah, it was basically, we had two friends that were coming from the same university as us last year and applying for F1. So we were, 4 or 5 years ahead of them, and they were asking us what it's like over here. And that kind of gave us the idea, because we were helping them pick their jobs and everything. And then we kind of did a bit of practical work with them before they started in terms of what they needed to know on their first day on the ward. And then it just kind of gave us the idea, I think, to do a crash course as well, just to show exactly what you needed to do on the ward on your first day, especially coming from abroad when maybe those things aren't emphasized over in Poland.
Right. That sounds great. And I think it's a very good initiative. A lot of students would be benefited by this, and it gives them a lot of confidence when they see their peers who are in the same journey, meeting at one place, which is F5 Focus, and probably sharing their journey through and their further future in UK. How would you guys say your journey was, and like what were the challenges you faced, which probably may put you in thought that F5 Focus would be the unique solution compared to the ones in the market right now? I believe there are a lot of like agencies and career counselors and things like that set up in the market already. So would you consider that as a competition, or would you say that this is something very unique, of one of its kind, which you have bought in? Or if it's not, then what is the way you go about, how would you go about in this, making it unique for the students? Right.
Mm-hmm. I think at this current moment, we're definitely a niche business. And when you talk about journey, I think that's such a good word to use, actually, because we've been on this journey for the people that we're trying to give this course to. We've been there where we would have felt that we were, not maybe not the best students, but definitely up there, and we tried and worked and studied very hard and definitely didn't slack. And then when we came into F1 over here in the UK, we realized it's a different kettle of fish when you start working on the wards. And there was a lot of stuff, knowledge-wise, I think huge. We were so far behind. And I think that's what motivated us in the journey and things like that. And we know from being through the F1 program, through the F2 program, locuming, and then now I'm in the GP training program, Brion's in an IMT program. We know what's available for you as part of your training program, and we're providing a course that there hasn't been. Do you understand? So I feel like that's the niche of our business, and I think that's why we're so passionate about it, because it's a course that I wish I did before I started and knew these things before starting to work on the wards. So as of right now, there's no course that or educational company that provides what we provide.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think to reiterate sort of Neil's words, what makes us unique is our first-hand experience. We are offering knowledge and experience from something that we have been through, and we know where there are gaps that need filled with knowledge that we can provide to you. And I think that's why people enjoy our courses so much and enjoy our resources so much, is because we have the credibility of the fact that we have been through the journey you're about to embark on. And I think that's why people engage with it so much. And, that's been reflected in our feedback and why they enjoy it.
Right. And that sounds great. I'm sure you guys would be a big helping tool for every student who's joined F5 Focus and who would be joining F5 Focus from this year onwards. And on that note, I would like to also ask about the journey of F5 Focus from the paper to the execution. How did it come in the world? Was it practically possible? What were the challenges we both faced? Were there any differences of ideas, or how did you split up your work? Could you explain us more about that?
Yeah, well, I suppose the biggest barrier to probably doing anything, like be it starting medicine or trying to start a business, is, the very first step is actually starting. I think we all have ideas about things that we could do and would want to do, but taking the first step and, registering it as a limited company, setting up social media platforms, making a website, these are all, barriers that we think we may be able to accomplish, but you can talk about them, but it's a different story when you actually go to do them and take those steps. So I'd say, we all have limited time, especially when you're working as a doctor in the NHS. And that can be another barrier to find time to allot to your pet project or a side project. So I think that's probably one of the biggest barriers we had. But once you get past the first step, it's just like a snowball and it keeps going, and then you just move on to the next thing that you need to target. And I think it comes with good planning and conversation between Neil and I. And you ask about disagreements or anything. I wish we had a great story, but I don't think we have. I don't think we have many disagreements on things. Or maybe Neil's going to say something else.
No, but yeah, I totally agree with Brian. I think the hardest thing was just the jobs that we were doing at the time. We're trying to set this up while two of us were working. Some of the jobs we were working maybe 2 weekends a month. So and then for even though we were trying to set this up and find a weekend that we could run a course, we were trying to find a weekend that suited the customers, but we also were trying to find a weekend that both of us would be off, and sometimes that could be 5 weeks away. So I think that is most challenging when the two of us are on rota works and things like that. We're almost always one of us is coming off night shifts or one of us is coming off a weekend. So it's quite taxing on the body after a long week of shifts to also fit in something else. But yeah.
Of course, I think it's a commendable job that you both are doing, and multitasking is like a biggest quality which you should have when you are doing something side by side, hand in hand, things going smooth. And so, would you say that on that note, would you say that the summer months are the busiest time for you, or throughout the year you would be having inquiries, you would be having some or the other kind of work to catch up with so what is the kind of time you have invested in this behind this startup is what I'm asking.
Yeah, so
I think.
Go ahead, Neil.
Sorry, you wanted to.
No, go on.
So yeah, it's hard to tell. Yeah, there's different months that I think around when it comes to applying. It's all the stages of the Oriel Foundation Program application. So I feel like we'll get lots of inquiries and questions when maybe the application's open, and then lots of inquiries then when it comes to the deadline for picking the deaneries for your F1, and then massive floods of ones then when it comes to picking jobs. I think that's the big thing. People trying to get a list of 270 jobs that they have to rank from 1 to 271 for their internship, and that can be quite stressful. So I'd say that there are busiest kind of months in terms of inquiries, but in terms of our courses, they're pretty kind of standard in the way that, throughout the year, we tend to go from maybe February to about this time of year, June, trying to go to different universities around Europe to try go out there and facilitate courses that would be there in the universities that, or in the cities that have universities of people applying back here. And then the summer months, then that's when we would maybe look to run courses back here that's more closer to Belfast or Dublin, and kind of aiming at maybe the students that are already home for the summer and doing summer jobs and things like that. So it's don't know if there is a busy period. It's kind of different periods of the year. We're busy with different things, I think. So yeah, we try to keep the ticking over.
Great. Dr. Brion, do you have anything to add to this?
No, not really. I completely agree with re-echo Neil's words. I mean, our day jobs as doctors is always busy. It's always the same, and then it's just a matter of when we can fit courses in at times that suit Neil and I, along with times that suit the students to come to the courses. So, yeah, those would be the busiest times. The inquiries definitely peak and trough around the most stressful times for students. So it's nice to be there and support them during those times and try and give advice. We can't. There's some questions we can't answer. It's just unique to their circumstances. But we try and signpost them to a resource that that can be helpful.
Right. So about the inquiries, so when a student comes to you inquiring about FI focus and probably he has decided about lab 2 years before, and from 2 years he's been preparing for it with the limited resources or with the theoretical side knowledge, whatever he has, he's find out some list of things about the examination, or probably ask his seniors. These are some sources where people usually go to. They rely upon Google, seniors, or probably some doctors. So, what do you think would FI focus be placed in? Like, which exact place would you keep FI focus in terms of reliability, in terms of complete information, like the quality of information, right? So, would it be an end-to-end thing, or would you be like, you know what, you got to join FI Focus, take this package, and then I tell you about it? Is it like that?
Yeah, it's an excellent question, but I suppose it varies on the person's circumstances, and we do speak about this in some of we have career planning webinars for people who are, final year medical students and applying to FY training in the UK. And we do have a little bit of a disclaimer. We offer advice and are very happy to offer advice, but it is advice based on our experience and our opinion. And there are very strict timelines, regulations and rules that are set by the UK Foundation Training Programme, and they have the final say when it comes to what jobs you get, what jobs you do, and the deadlines to which you have to have your application submitted by. We're always very careful about offering advice for unique circumstances when people are going to different areas or have a query about something that maybe we're not fully familiar with. But where we sort of offer our expertise is we give advice on everything that the UK Foundation Training Programme Office cannot tell you. That's what we like to say. We give you our personal experience, different strategies to ranking your jobs. When we run our courses, we give you clinical skills, that you haven't had the chance to learn in medical school, things that you can't learn from a book. And I think that's what really gives us that unique value, like we talked about in that other question. But we absolutely acknowledge we can't answer everything, but we know our niche and where we can offer help.
Absolutely. Yeah. Go on, Dr. Neil, please.
No, I don't think I can add anything to that. That was perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. No. Okay. So to add on to that question, I think you'll be having some tough students to handle as well. Would be who, in terms of inquiry, in terms of probably like before taking up with anything, before joining FI Focus, they would have a there'll be weeks of inquiry. There'll be weeks of one after another. There'll be stages of clarifying and maybe like reliability. Probably that's what they're looking for. Like how, because since you said it's a new recent startup, so I think that's what they are looking for. So how would you what would you address to that set of students who are looking for reliability, who are looking for what exactly, like they're still figuring out, they're still trying to understand your startup? What would you address? Like what is your message to them?
Sorry. So the what do you mean? What would be my message to them in terms of?
What I mean is there will be like a set of students who would be inquiring week after week.
Yeah.
Right. And they're still not clear. They're very unclear, or they're looking for reliable response. Like they're like, would these people still be in touch? Is how old? Like, because when it comes to career guidance,
responding. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so not just response. Not just response. They would want to have a 360-degree idea of what exactly you got to offer them, right? So in that way, it would be a very challenging job to convince them like over and over with your response, with your with the kind of answers you give. They would be judging on whether this is a safe place to go in, whether can I join FY Focus or not. So for those students who are looking for a reliability, how exactly would you respond to them?
Yeah, well, I guess, I mean, I think our experience speaks for itself. I think there's a lot of educational companies and things out there where there's doctors that are trying to make, quick money and have different educational tips and things to subscribe to. And if you look up what they're doing, many of them are, locuming and don't actually have a training program under their belt and things like this. I guess I guess there is no proof. You have to kind of trust us, but I mean, our proof is kind of there in the fact that we're teaching what we have done ourselves. And from me going to I locum for 1 year in A&E to try to find where I wanted to go, and then I went straight into a training program in GP because I wanted further experience in psychiatry and pediatrics. And Brian was the same, did a year in A&E to figure out which medical specialty he wanted to do. And now he knows he's full hog going for cardiology, and he's doing all the extracurricular stuff. So I think it's sometimes you get doctors at our stage that are a bit lost in terms of what they're going to be doing in the next stage of their career. And I think the two of us are pretty certain on what we want to do. And, we're, nearly done or on the way of finishing those careers and stuff like that as well. So I think, I don't think we can really lie about different things when we're currently still in the system. We're currently still junior doctors in the training system. So I think that's as reliable as information can get. I mean, lots of people have questions that don't really apply to internship at all. We got lots of questions about pay and annual leave and entitlement and all that kind of stuff, which is everything that we're still in tune with, because we're still on that NHS junior doctor a status. So it's not like that we'd be out of tune of internship just because we're 5 years removed. We're very much still on par with the junior doctors, just with more experience.
Right. Dr. Bang, you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, no, I entirely agree with what Neil said. I think your reputation and your credibility, I think, comes from the quality of the advice that you provide to inquiries, that you get offered. We get a lot of inquiries at different times of the year from people that, that we're actually not trying to sell anything to. A vast majority of inquiries that we get, are oftentimes from people that may not, maybe at a different stage of their career and may not have an interest in coming to some of our crash courses, but we still offer them our opinion and the best advice we can. We don't just reply to people that we think are going to come and pay to come to some of our courses. So I think that gives you credibility and that shows that you have value. And I think that is more likely to, give you organic sales and give you a good reputation organically, that people will recommend our services or just us as a platform for information and hopefully get some wisdom.
Right. So there's an add-on to that question. The reason behind asking that was you guys do conduct workshops, right? And webinars, and that's how you push your company forward as well. People get to know about FI Focus. People get to know what exactly you do, and also how reliable or credible you are. So I would like to know how many times a year would these workshops be, and what exactly do these workshops focus upon? Is it to get a better idea about the PLAB examination, like the orientation of the exam, or is it the general information, what people usually don't find in the website or in Google? How is it like?
Yeah. So essentially we call it the FY Focus and Intern Crash Course. And it essentially is a crash course of all the practical and clinical skills that you need to have refined and honed in for your first days of working as a junior doctor. They're the things that you can't learn from textbooks or probably didn't have enough experience in refining when you were a medical student, more so for those who may have studied abroad, like Neil and I were at our stage. From prescribing fluids and insulins and medications to doing practical procedures like venipuncture, cannulation, arterial blood gases, urinary catheterization, and then finally we give the chance to do full-on simulations of what it's like to be a junior doctor when you're called to an acutely deteriorating patient. So that's very much the content and the premise of the course and our goal for it. And as Neil said, this is something we wish we had available to us when we were at that stage. And I think that's the biggest driver. And I think that's an honest thing without trying to sell someone something that is very true. And I think people, see that as being valid, and that's why they want to come to the course.
Okay, perfect. And okay, so I would like to ask this question, that when you got the first student or the first customer, how will you go about it? How will you look into it? How was the reaction? How was Neil or Brian? How did you exactly react to it? Okay, we got the first student. We got the first. We starting it off. It's taking off finally. So how was that takeoff moment for both of you?
I don't remember having that moment when people booked it. Maybe Brian does, but I think it was more the moment when we finished the course on that day. I think very much we had this idea, and definitely it was like what we would have wanted to be taught as F1. But I think it wasn't until like 5 o'clock that day when really we were finishing up, and the 13 people were just so thankful for everything we had taught them, and had the questions they had were brilliant. And I think it was really then that it really felt good, I think, because it meant this is something that's worth it. This is something that's good. And I really felt like there was a few students there that had actually started working as an F1 the week before, and even they just felt way more comfortable. They were saying that how nervous and anxious they were over the first week of work, and how little that they'd been shown on the ward by their seniors already and stuff like that. So, we probably were excited when the bookings came in, but I think the real excitement hit me when we finished, like 5 o'clock. I will always remember that day when we finished up and asked, did anyone have any questions? And everybody was just so into it and so thankful, and the feedback we got was great. And I think the excitement hit me then. Maybe I didn't really fully believe in the product until then, but that's why, that's the moment I'll remember. Definitely is, 5 o'clock that day.
I agree. I think the positive feedback we get, I think, is always really encouraging, because it does take a lot of work to run FY Focus alongside our full-time jobs. And we've had nearly all of our feedback is extremely positive. But I think one piece of feedback that really stuck with me was, after the course, we would just have, a general sort of Q&A session, and we would ask if you found this useful, or did you find value in the whole day? And one person said, like, within the first hour of the course, I felt like this was absolutely worth it and like really valuable. And, that really, it means a lot. That person might not even remember, that comment or that feedback, but that's really, self-affirming, I think, for the business. Like, it gives us great confirmation and great encouragement to keep going and keep doing what we're doing when it can feel like hard work, because I really do think it is of value to people, and they certainly enjoy it when they do come to our courses.
Yeah, and it's funny because the first hour we always think is the boring part, because it's very theoretical and we just, we touch on some prescribing and stuff like that. And it's, as the day goes on, it gets more fun with more practical stuff. And so that was gas, because it's the first hour we don't enjoy. We enjoy teaching all the practical stuff.
Yeah.
But so it was very funny that his comment was even in the first hour that was so helpful. So, the feedback's always great and motivating.
That's great. That's a very good, I think, very inspiring takeaway moment for both of you. And speaking about that, how do you approach towards the marketing or branding FI focus as? Of course, you have mentioned that it's a niche company. Like it caters to a very niche segment of people. But how exactly do you brand it as, market it as to the people, to the category of students?
Yeah, so marketing is probably the most challenging and most time-consuming aspect of the business. Outside of running the courses and organizing locations, marketing is definitely time challenging because it requires so much consistency. I think, to stay valid on particularly social media and to get people engaged, they need to see your content 2, 3, 4, 5 times before they actually, strongly consider coming to a course or attending your webinar or using your resources or reaching out, even just for a general inquiry. So I think that's the first thing I would say about marketing and promoting the business. We use all the conventional social media channels, like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We have, some of our longer form content on YouTube, but we definitely have our biggest following and engagement from Instagram. And, it's really helpful to be in collaboration with student organizations to help share our content. And a lot of the student organizations in Poland have been great, much like your platform. It really helps us to promote our content, and I think it also gives us some more validation in eyes of the students. For that they encourage our content, and we have sort of similar goals and things like that. So I think that would be very much the strategy we would use, and word of mouth recommendations and feedback.
Yeah, I think it struggles because it's such a niche course. I think it's hard for you to just see it or flick past it on Instagram and kind of know what it is. And even if I think you go into our stuff as well, I think lots of people don't realize how good it is until they do it sometimes. And we've seen that happen so many times where straight away once we run the course, our inquiries are mad, our phones are pinging like crazy for the next few days after we run a course, and that could be just from the few people that attended the course going and telling their friends in college that, God, actually this was really good and what I've learned and stuff like that. So I think it's just because it's not like a first aid course. Everyone knows what a first aid course is by just the name. So I think it's hard definitely to market it that way, but we'll trust in word to mouth for
Yeah.
Of course, yes. And how do you see the company evolving? Like it's been a year now, and moving forward in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years, do you think that your category in the market would be different, or would you still stick with niche? Is it like a conscious effort or a conscious decision from the beginning? Or do you see that as the company is evolving, as you have the more positive responses, more positive feedbacks, and great experience in this with the company, right? In this market, yeah. How do you see it evolving? Like, does it change? Like,
I think.
Go ahead.
Sorry. For the moment, I think our course is perfect, and I don't think it needs to change at the moment in terms of what you need for internship. But it's more just we have a lot of exciting kind of things that we're going to do over the next year or so to try to get it just to more people. And that meaning just over the last year, we've gone to a few cities in Poland, and nearly probably more of a personal thing because we knew Poland because that's where we came from and stuff like that. And it's where we kind of knew where to go back to. And funny enough, just from doing that, and we've got so much interest from other countries, like the students have been on to us from Bulgaria and Hungary and Czech Republic and things like that. So they're all avenues that we're going to explore over next year, is going to lots of different countries and just trying to pick out different cities and things like that. So that's why we're always really happy with people messaging us and telling us what their kind of situation is in the city. What year they're in and how many people, it's not that they have to be Irish or UK, but anybody that's looking to work in Ireland and the UK. And all our stuff is suitable from third year up. So it's really a broad spectrum of people there. And if there's enough of them, then we get the ball rolling and we can come out to their city. So we've been to Poland this year, but next year it looks like we're going to be in about 4 or 5 different countries. So it's looking very exciting. And then, but then the big goal then as well is to try get it done remotely as well for those people that can't attend. Like we feel sorry, there is people that message us, and there might be only 2 of them in a certain city, and unfortunately we just can't get out there to them, and they can't get to one of our courses. So we are hoping to get a remote version as well that can be available online and stuff too. So a few exciting stuff in the few years to come. And yeah,
Sounds great. Sounds exciting. How big is your team when it comes to FI Focus? How big is the team? Is it just 2 of you handling and managing all of it? Or, like, how is it like?
We like to keep things lean at the FY Focus team. So you're looking at the bones of the company right now. It is primarily Neil and I that run all aspects of the business, from delivering the course together to managing the website, replying to inquiries, and delivering the career planning webinars. Neil and I balance different aspects of the business together. I think we would be in a lot of trouble and would be remiss of the fact if we don't acknowledge our girlfriends do help us out. So especially with capturing content and some editing of the content as well. Both our girlfriends help us and have been to some of our courses and helped us out in the early days. So it is primarily Neil and I with a little bit of extra support.
Yeah.
Of course, that's great. So I'm sure most of the days would be all positive, and everyone has that enthusiasm and that zeal to work. But what about those days when you have timelines to achieve? You have to prepare yourself before it's the dates have been already out. You have a load of things to get done with. And how do you handle such a moment? Because I think it requires a lot of planning, and the leadership comes in play in that kind of situations. So how do you call it out?
Yeah, I think it benefits us that we've known each other since we were 4, and we're quite comfortable with each other. Do you know? For instance, over the last year, the 2 of us have had big exams. So there was, a period where when Brion was studying for his exam, I took over everything and just didn't want him being pinged with any messages, because you're right, it is tough. You're getting up in the morning and you have a long day ahead of you, or you're in the middle of a ward round or whatever work you're doing, and to be getting long messages on Instagram and stuff that you just can't really comprehend right now. And then you're going home and you're having to study for a big exam, one of the biggest exams of your life, for your career, and really replying to students about, picking jobs in 2 years' time isn't your top priority, and you want to give the best response you can. So I think it's good and it's healthy that when Brion was studying, that I was doing all the replies, and then it kind of worked out well after Brion was done his exam. My exam was a few months away, so then Brion took the reins as well. So I suppose we've been lucky that we haven't had one of us could be maybe having a difficult week and the other person can take the reins and do most of the replies, and vice versa. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we balance the tasks really well, and the different level of responsibility changes from time to time depending what we have going on, in our own careers and work, in our full-time jobs. And to all the students watching, maybe some of them know, some of them don't. The exams don't stop after medical school, so the postgraduate exams just keep coming, and they're just as tough, probably a lot more difficult actually than the undergraduate exams. But I think in terms of other times that the business is difficult, or sort of there's some uncertainty, is when we have sort of confirmed a location, particularly for our international courses. There's a period where we have booked like a venue to run the course, we've booked our travel, we have our equipment, we know the course content, and then you just need to start promoting it. You're just sort of waiting for people to book. There's this area of risk that, that like we've done a certain amount of market research to know that there is a demand in this location, in this city. And then, you just have to hope that these people are convinced that you have a high quality course, that you are reliable, that, you're going to show up and run the course, and, that they're going to book. So, I think I always find that difficult when we launch a new date and we're just like, okay, I hope we can facilitate these people's expectations, and that we can run another successful course. And I think that's always just a period of anticipation that I feel personally every time.
Right. That's really great to know that you guys have each other's back whenever it's required. And I think that's the collaboration. Like that's exactly when two friends meet. It's a great company out there. It's a great solution for many to look forward on a FI focus when it comes to career planning in UK or the entrance exams. So could you share a memorable moment on that note? A memorable moment of your journey as best friends, not as founders, not as doctors, but as best friends. A memorable moment through this process where you probably realized that, okay, I thought I knew him, but okay, today he got my respect.
These questions are getting deep.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, there is a fond memory of mine, and it was, of the last year, and our last course there was in Woods. No, sorry, where was it? Big Gosh. And it kind of marked actually a full year in business, didn't it? And we had gone over, and because other courses we went to, and our girlfriends came, and it was very helpful. They came and did content for us and stuff like that. But the way this weekend fell, it was just the two of us going over ourselves. And there was no direct flight into Bydgoszcz, so we'd fly from Dublin to Warsaw and rent a car and drive about 4.5 hours on not the best roads, and in the middle of the night as well. So it was an experience, but it was those 4.5 hours. I think we've never talked so deep in a while, because we don't meet up as much as we used to. I know, like, it might seem like it does, but we work so many hours. And anytime we meet up, maybe we're doing business stuff and all that kind of things. And it was cool. It was good timing, It didn't mean to work out that way, that our girlfriends weren't going to be there. It didn't mean to be that it was going to be a full year in business, and it didn't mean that it was going to happen to be in Poland and flying into the Warsaw airport that we used to always fly into for 6 years together. And we didn't have the best memories of that airport, and we flying into it for a different reason. Coming in as what's that, like 5-6 years on from graduation, and just different circumstances. And it was cool, like, in that 4.5 hours we just talked, reminisced about different memories in Poland and stuff like that. And we have been through thick and thin together, and it's funny to be over in Poland doing something that we both want to do and feel passionate about. And it's funny how we're still there over in Poland together. We never thought we'd be back there together, but
I suppose it's funny because very much going back to Poland to run these courses is us, like, on the other side of the journey that we went out there for first, and like Neil and I are both in the same city. We actually live about 10 minutes apart from each other, but despite that, we still don't see each other, that much. People might even say, because we're best friends, we just started this business as an excuse to see each other more. But obviously that isn't actually the case. But it has turned out to be a great project that we both get to work on together, keep in touch about, and if it wasn't for it, we probably wouldn't see each other as much as we do. We wouldn't have an excuse to sort of meet up and do things and work on the business together. So, that's been a really nice sort of unforeseen benefit of starting this that I don't think either of us anticipated before it started up.
So, on that, I want to ask, when exactly did it start? Was it your 4th year? Was it the 5th year? Was it when you were preparing yourself for the UK? Is when you thought about, this is damn hard of a journey. We both should make something for the rest of them, for the juniors. Was it like that? How did it all start? Like, was it just a conversation first, or was it like an idea which you have been always pursuing? How was it?
In terms of starting FY Focus, starting the business?
Yes.
It was very much to be honest, we had the idea probably November or December, I think, of what would that be, 2022, I think,
Yeah.
because that's when we had our friends who we studied in Poland with that were starting their journey in applying to the UK. And we sort of didn't really mess around. We then, we said we should just make this into a business and try and help more people because we were getting so many inquiries from friends and friends of friends. So it was much later than our undergraduate career. It was really when we were postgraduates. We had both been doctors in the UK for whatever, it must have been like 3 or 4 years at the time before we started it. And then we started the business officially in May of 2023. So I don't think we would have been able to say when we were in 3rd or 4th year, we should start a company when we've graduated and went to the UK because we didn't know the journey that was ahead of us and we didn't know the amount of guidance we needed. It was only when we went through that and we looked back and got so many inquiries, we knew there was a business idea behind this all. And I think that's probably another thing to say to some of the students is, some people are very engaged in our business, have a lot of inquiries, are absolutely burning to come to courses. And then the people who are not, I'm almost a little bit worried about them because they actually don't know what's ahead of them and how challenging it is and how much they would benefit from engaging in some of our courses and resources. Maybe they're a little bit unaware of, what they're about to get themselves into is how I think about it a little bit.
Right. Dr. Neil, you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, well, just touching on that as well. I, always be worried as well of people who don't. Not saying that they have to come to our courses, but feeling that like it's straightforward. We come from all of us as medical students. We've all been that kind of a person who's liked the routine of studying, would have studied in secondary school or high school, and then went to university or college, and in the routine of an exam is on this date, and this is when I have to know this stuff for. But that's it then. You finish your college, and then there's no more hands being held. There's nobody going to be telling you when to study this and when to study that, and when you're thrown on the ward. And I didn't know, and I don't think Brian knew about what was going to be expected of you. There's somebody coming up and asking you to interpret this X-ray, and you're just going to go, "Oh no, wait, where's my seniors? Like they're not there." And now this sounds like this guy's septic, and you're to deal with them, and then you're like, well, sepsis, I can define sepsis, but I can't manage it with my hands. You know what I mean? So like it's I think lots of people really. Sometimes they find it tough. You see people on Instagram and they're going like, doctor completed and stuff. They have no idea, they just have to graduate and they have no idea what's ahead of them, you're a junior doctor, you don't even have a full registration yet, you're that far down. You're a temporary registration for a year to see how you get on. And then if you've survived that, that's when you can start into a training program, So I do worry for some people when I see them on Instagram and thinking that they have it completed from doing, because let's face it, some exams have old questions and things like that, and this is the end of it. There's no more old questions. It's this, stuff that's real now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Okay, to sum this up all, I would like to end this with a note of clarification from you both of how exactly F5 Focus goes about. So you guys pick a city from where you have got enough students or inquiries to go there and help the students out by all the means for clinical and the practical aspects which they're going to face after their lab, right? During the foundation years, when they are placed placed there as a foundation doctor, they would have to, the challenges which might come up to them, things, unexpected experiences they'll have to encounter, you would be training them for it with all your experience and experience in their career. So is that all, or would you like to explain it in a more orderly manner to everyone out there?
Yeah, so generally, our main target audience is medical students who are about to start their FY journey. So final year medical students who are about to start FY1 or FY2. So that's the vast majority of students that come to our courses. We have had a few junior doctors who have already started FY1 and are finding things difficult or want to a little extra practice run about what's expected, how to manage things, come to our courses as well. Also doctors at, other levels that have worked in other countries, maybe done an internship in their country abroad and are new to the NHS. They're also, very welcome to our courses. And I think, they would still find all of the content and material very high yield and very useful. There would be that same applicability for that same content if you are sitting in your PLAB. A lot of people, I think, use different remote resources for their PLAB, but I think it would absolutely be useful and high yield to those people as well, because it's the same content. What we cover is what it's like to work as a doctor in Ireland and the UK, what skills you need. So that's very much the content of the course. In terms of the cities that we run them in, so generally our international courses are wherever we can find the most interest and demand for the services, and people reach out to us and they get their colleagues, they garner their interest as well, and then if it's plausible in terms of numbers of interest, we deliver courses there. Belfast is very much our base, where we started the company, where we ran our first couple of courses, and where we will be running courses this summer. We'll have 2 courses in Belfast this summer, and then it'll be going back to the international sort of circuit after the summertime.
Okay, and how long does your courses last? Like an average duration, even if you're planning to introduce something in the future, like any additional courses or any kind of a guidance program, how long would you do you have like a fixed thing that this is the duration we would want to stick with? How is it like?
Yeah, we'd usually just say 9 to 5, and we run it on a Saturday, but there's a lot of area in it where we can take it even on longer. We're very lucky that the people that we rent off up here, they've pro paramedics, they're fantastic service. They're a private paramedic company that let us rent their simulation rooms and stuff like that. So we say 9 to 5 in terms of the first 2 hours, a lot of bit of theory, and then we get a bit of coffee, and then there's a lot of practical stuff with the venipunctures and cannulas, NG insertion catheters. And we like to leave a massive bulk of the time for the afternoon after lunch for the simulations, because they're the most fun, having people pretending that they're the F1, they're on call, it's 2 a.m, they've got 10 things to do, and the nurse is calling them about a patient, and they have to see how important this is, should I go see it? And we role play with them, and we have mannequins, and, as they request investigations to come up, ECGs, chest x-rays and stuff like that. That's myself and Brion's favourite part of the day, and we could go all day doing it. We really could. We really enjoy that. So we do say 9 to 5, and like this, and 5 o'clock, people can leave if they want at 5 o'clock. Sometimes if people need to catch buses or trains, but from our experience, everyone ends up staying a bit longer. Everybody ends up, even though they're nervous at the start, they all end up wanting to do a simulation themselves because they want to be put on the spot, because you learn so much. And then usually then when we're done that, we kind of do a Q&A session. And again, we allow people to go home if they want or stay for a Q&A. And all of our experience in all our courses, everyone ends up staying for nearly another 40 minutes to ask us personal questions about job applications and things like that. So, on paper, it's a 9 to 5 day, but some people don't even go get lunch. They like to hang around because we're there having our lunch and ask us questions and stuff. So it ends up being a pretty long day, as much as you get as much out of it as you want, I feel,
True. And how many days would this go for? Like students have to plan their time out on this course. So how long should they dedicate themselves?
It's a 1 day course that we run it for. It's sort of 1 day intensive
Right,
course, and I think that's
right,
probably around the sweet spot. I think for students
right,
at the moment, we have talked about developing it further and having sort of a crash course 2.0, where
right.
at the crash course we have now, it's very much the core clinical skills, the basic sort of minimum level of what's required. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't say that you need any pre-reading in advance because
Right, right.
you've been at medical school for 5 or 6 years. There's not a lot more you can learn before your first day on the
Mm-hmm.
ward that you can read from a book. Like, this is time to start putting it into practice.
Mhm.
Get familiarity with the actual doing and not the learning in the same way. This is about getting experience and getting ready to put it all to work, I think. So it's a 1 day course, and I think it for the foreseeable future, I think it'll remain that duration.
Mhm.
Perfect, perfect. And if there are students after this podcast who are interested in FI Focus, um, and they would want you to be there in their city, right? So, how do you would you be interested in collaborating with universities on that? Uh, if the universities are ready to host you people, if they are ready to give their space out, will you be interested with that? Since you said that your first year you had a good number of students coming in at the same time. So if you get a bunch of them now, will you be ready for it? Like, since you guys are a small team and you already have planned for this year, say for probably next year, 2025, if you're getting some advance booking or something of that sort, would that materialize? Would that work out, or do you guys have your plans and you stick with it? How's it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're happy for anybody to message us. Like I said, because there's the two of us, we're happy to take inquiries from anyone. And we have between the two of us, the abilities to get back to everybody within a day or two and stuff like that. But where we find that it probably is most helpful is when a student organisation gets onto us. Because rather than having 10 students from the one university messaging us the same question, even though we're happy to reply to them all, sometimes it's best that they have one nominated person from a student
Mm,
organisation that emails us or DMs us on Instagram. And then
right,
that way we're only messaging one person and then they know the exam dates and study dates and what weekends to come over and stuff like that. So from experience, that tends to be the best option. But we're always happy with anybody texting us. But absolutely, 2025 is we're looking to go more places than ever. So it's not too late or too early to message us and get a date in. So the thing is, with other places in Poland, it probably is best I'm getting in first before other people, because I think, like I said, our weekends are limited as well. It's not just
mm,
everyone's
right,
weekend. Two of us work weekend and on-call shifts and have busy personal and career lives. So definitely, if they want to be in the weekend before a different city in the same country, then probably is better off trying to book it earlier than later.
right. That's awesome, guys. And so I'd like to end this podcast by saying, please look up on F5 Focus, catch them on Insta, inquire send all your inquiries through email, and get as soon as a response and decide on how you want to prepare, what you want to do, and F5 Focus it is, guys.
All right, thanks very
Perfect.
much.
Thank you,
Thanks
Neil,
for
thank you,
having us.
Brian.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
Pleasure.